didn't already know that. Right now, we are in podcast form in something that is not the Irrational Passions podcast. That's pretty much all we got right now. With me is Brennan Williams is here.
What's up?
And Niall Reynolds is here as well.
How's it going?
These are two of the writers for the Irrational Passions podcast, and I'm here to set the record straight and send them on their way so they can start their Irrational Passions unnamed writers podcast.
I like not Irrational Passions podcast.
Not very irrational.
I think that's what we should call it.
Yeah, not very Irrational Passions podcast. Not very rational nor passionate, but definitely a podcast.
Kind of.
Kind of.
Kind of not a
This is
podcast.
gonna go. There are a lot of other writers, but none of them are here because they're all bad people.
Yeah.
So that's all on them.
We're the dedicated ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Let the records show.
Yeah, I wrote like 5 things this week, and only 3 of them went up. So there you go. I'm a writer. So this is going to be like a different, shorter podcast. Or at least that's what I hope. Hopefully it won't deteriorate into just 2.5 hours of nerds yelling at each other like the other podcasts that we do. It's going to be focused on the writers' opinions so you can see them and hear their voices and everything. So
Because we sound so sexy.
Exactly. This is exactly what I was about to say.
Yes.
Especially me. The Irish
yeah.
one.
A sweet Irish accent.
I'm like the Jacob from Twilight of Irish people for podcast listeners. That's right.
You should turn on your camera, Niall.
Oh, fuck. Really?
His camera's on. That's what he looks like. He's just really good at staying in one spot.
I'm a mime.
In a circle. He's actually really good at turning his body into a sphere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll do this show. Hopefully we'll have topics, just like one topic to dominate each one of these little podcasts. And this one will be kind of general introductions. If you don't know what Irrational Passions is, I will
You're
let you
fucking
know.
insane.
What the fuck are you doing?
On the IGNs.
Yeah, we're the new IGN, actually.
Can we put that on the website now? Like, Irrational Passions, we're the new IGN.
I believe Greg Miller referred to us as the Launchpad.
The
Mostly
Launchpad.
because things blow up on here. Which is
I like
mostly
it.
accurate. Yeah.
We could be the Launchpad McQuack.
Launchpad McQuack, I like it. Okay. But I guess we'll do introductions first. Just kind of general gamer-centric introductions. Niall, do you want to kick us off?
Yep. I am 21 and I am from Ireland.
North
writing-
Ireland.
Northern Ireland. I've been writing for about probably about 3 to 4 months. I started writing actually on IGN blogs. I have no idea what got me into writing. I was listening to podcasts solid for like 30 hours a week probably because I listened to it during my work. I think it was Greg Miller had a podcast about how would you get into writing.
Mm-hmm.
And I never considered myself a writer whatsoever. And then I started a blog and I wrote some very terrible articles. If I read back, I kind of cringe now at them. And I'm sure I'll probably do that in a few months back at my articles now, but there were some bad articles, and then I kept writing, and after a few weeks, I sent one into IGN, and they actually used it on their front page, which is everyone who listens to the Irrational Passions podcast knows because I won't stop talking about it.
Yep.
So I made it to IGN's front page, so I'm probably...
You made it where?
IGN's front page. Yeah.
Brendan's like, fuck, I didn't know that. Fuck you.
Fucking an all-star talent team here. That's right.
Exactly.
No, but
A literal IGN all-star.
Well
yeah.
played.
Yeah. So after there, then I was writing for a wee small site called Games on the Mind, which was a hit site until Alex took me under his wing, and we are now the Irrational Passions the irrationalpassions.com. So make sure you check it out for new articles.
On the not Irrational Passions podcast.
Yeah, I'm not on that one. Kind of.
You've been on there a couple times.
I am
Showed up.
a special guest from time to time.
Yes.
I think it'd be good if we...
a very
talk
special
about
guest.
what games? No, should we talk about what actually our main game interests are?
Yeah, what kind of gamer are you, Niall?
I am a PC gamer.
Get
Um,
out.
yeah, that's right. Primarily a PC gamer. I owned a PS3, which I recently traded in for Wii U for the next generation. I'm going to upgrade to a PS4. But I mainly play games such as Final Fantasy, Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil, uh, first-person shooters, and I love. What do I love? Uncharted. I mainly love Uncharted. So
Because Uncharted is amazing.
Uncharted's pretty cool.
it's that Naughty Dog. Damn them
Yeah,
Naughty
man.
Dogs.
Naughty Dog's one of the best developers out there right now, as far as I'm concerned.
Easily.
Mm.
But yeah, no, PC gamer, you're not welcome here. Blah blah blah. I don't know.
You're not the boss of this podcast.
Other console fanboy trite bullshit. I don't know. Yeah, no, I it's good to have someone that has like a super powerful tower on the team though.
Yeah, I'm upgrading soon as well. And I upgraded recently from. I had a laptop hard drive in my tower, which was like extremely slow. It took like 5 minutes to launch Windows, and I upgraded recently to an SSD and a 1 terabyte actual solid state, or not solid state, just a 3.5-inch hard drive, and my computer launches up ready in about 40 seconds, completely finished. Like, so that's pretty cool.
Jesus Christ.
And I'm gonna upgrade to 780, the new NVIDIA card for just to tie me over for a couple of years. So I'm excited for that.
I'm lucky if my Xbox 360 can turn on in 40 seconds.
Don't tell me you have the original one, OG
I do.
360.
I do. Not a launch day. It's a 2008, so
Ugh.
it's still disgusting, and it's like a giant white, like block texture.
It looks like it's gonna turn yellow soon, doesn't it? It's like that
It
dirty.
looks like a
white.
sand block from Minecraft, is what it looks like.
Yeah. Oh, they're atrocious.
Yeah, I mean, I love it still. I've had it forever. So had it
Slimline.
since Gears of War 2 came out. So
Slimline looks so much better on both consoles. That is, PS3 looks like a bread bin. So I'll not get into that.
I have an OG PS3 as well.
Oh God! How did you even run Grand Theft Auto on that?
I don't know.
Oh Jesus!
Pretty sure there's a point where my PS3 was about to give up. It was just chugging. It was just like I gave it a puff on my inhaler, and it pulled through.
Jesus!
The joys of being a console gamer. Yeah, no, that's like. Did you go back and read what I wrote for our Steam article at any point?
No, I seen it. I've been out all day. I just seen it, but I was gonna go read it after this podcast. Well, what did you do?
Because I didn't read what you wrote until after I'd finished writing my piece.
Very similar, I take it.
It was extremely similar. It's pretty much my biggest concern was the use of the Linux operating system, and you were most excited about that.
Why is that a concern?
I just I'm worried about the support for it going forward.
Oh man, all I have to do is Half-Life 3 on Linux. Everyone, Linux.
Yeah, but I don't even know if Valve would do that. They wouldn't make it exclusive.
Oh well, they might make it 6-month exclusive, maybe, or who knows?
No, I don't think they would even do that. But it was like that was the point that we had differing views on. And then I went on this piece where I was like the only way I could see this appealing is if there's a $100 lightweight version of it, and you in your piece were like, I could totally get behind a $100 lightweight version of this. I'm like, there you go.
That would be awesome, though. I actually am so up for the Steam box.
The
Steam
machine, please.
Steam machine. Sorry,
Please.
Alex.
Jesus Christ. Unprofessional. Brendan, what about you? Niall said enough. What kind of gamer are you?
About the Steam X or? So my background is as a screenwriter. My degree is in film. And I actually got started from that same Greg Miller podcast, where they're talking about how to write for IGN and all that stuff, because I work in a school right now. I have nothing to do with film, and I really want a job writing. So I spent a lot of time doing video games, and I was like, I'm sure I can write as well as Greg Miller. I could do that. That'd be easy. So just started doing IGN blog like you, and then found out about Irrational Passions also through Greg Miller.
Yes.
Found out you
Much
guys were looking for
appreciative to him
writers, and
for that.
so I saw you guys were looking for writers, and I thought I'd just like submit something, and ended up getting the job. So it's been fun.
That sounds good.
In terms of games, I love Uncharted probably more than any game out right now.
Which one's your favorite? This is the
Three.
question.
I like 2.
Yeah,
I'm one of those people that now
Yeah.
I like 3 though, a lot. Like I just like 2 a little more.
See, I'm exactly the same.
You're crazy, man.
I'm 100% with you.
So 2, like, the reason I love Uncharted for one is like I love those Indiana Jones pulpy like classic serial style adventures more than like anything.
Yep.
So I played the first Uncharted. I was like, oh my god, like this is exactly what I'm looking for in a game. This is amazing. I feel like I'm playing a movie. The characters are awesome. It's well written. This is perfect. And everyone was like, if you like 1, wait till you play 2. And I like honestly could not see 2 topping 1, and it blew 1 away. I mean, like I can barely even play 1 now.
Oh yeah,
Compared
one's
to 2.
almost unplayable at this point.
And
Actually-
it's so weird because I loved that game when I first played it, and I still like it, but like 2 raised the bar, so like just on every single level. I mean, the set pieces were incredible in that game compared to they were barely there in the first game.
hmm
And you were stuck on that one island the whole time, and then you're in Nepal, you're in the Himalayas, you're all over the place in 2.
Yeah.
The writing was phenomenal too. They really stepped up their game with the writing in 2. Which is why I like 3 though so much, because despite like I felt like my problem with 3 was a much smaller story. Like I'm gonna call spoilers now if you haven't played any of the Uncharted games, because I'm gonna get into some deep stuff.
It's about to get deep here.
But like, I didn't like the reveal at the end with like the whole when they finally got to the Jinn at the end of the game.
hmm
That came to me like really late into the game, whereas like in 2 that would have happened way earlier.
Yeah.
And so like Marlowe never felt like the villain that Lazarevich was. It was more of
Yeah.
this personal like struggle between her and Drake. So like I felt like 3 was missing that like kind of like big epic bombastic nature that 2 had. But I like how personal 3 is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
The young Drake
and-
moments of 3 make 3 kind of like stand out.
Yeah. I mean, actually the first thing I ever wrote about video games, it's on my IGN blog, was about this scene in Uncharted 3 where you find out that Drake and Elena were engaged or were married. And like that, I think that's the best written scene in any video game ever.
Yeah.
So
And and there are a lot of great moments like that, the personal moments that I think make 3
Yeah.
stand out as something different at the very least.
yeah, I mean like at the end of the game when you think Sully is dead.
Yeah.
Like, I remember playing through the rest of it. I was like, "Oh my god! Like, I can't believe that just happened."
Yeah.
And I was like kind of like a little. I don't want to say like upset, but I was definitely like emotionally invested at that point. Like, I felt kind of what Drake was feeling.
Yeah.
I love Sully. Sully's so cool.
Sully's the best character.
Yeah, he is. He is an amazing character. One of the best characters to come out of this generation.
Yeah.
I
Definitely.
actually played Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 back to back for the first time this year. And
Oh,
when I
wow.
was playing through, 1, I don't know if it was because of all the games I went through this generation, but I thought one was very tedious, and it was just shoot people, like shoot an arena of enemies, move forward, repeat, repeat, cutscene, and going straight from that to Uncharted 2 was like, whoa, it's just uncomparable. Although the twist in one, where it went kind of supernatural, that was amazing. That was
I
pretty
love
impressive.
that. I think it's
Yeah.
so awesome.
I did not see it
Fucking
coming.
Nazi zombies, man.
Yeah, that was really well done.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
I like the
one
supernatural
was,
stuff. I always liked it in Uncharted, and I
and that
hated
was
when
what
people were like, no.
that was what disappointed me about 3 because it really wasn't there at all.
Yeah.
Like it was hinted at and stuff, and I know that like they ran into issues with like the guy that played Cutter was like Charlie Cutter was supposed to be in like much more of the story,
Yeah.
and he got cast I think in The Hobbit actually.
Really?
So that's why like he breaks his leg halfway through, and they kind of like split because they had to get rid of his character. So that's like I feel like there are parts of Uncharted 3 that feel like they were kind of rushed and like piecework together. Because it like doesn't. I mean the Drake and Elena plot flows really well, but the actual like Marlowe plot feels a little I don't know, jigsaw-y. Like it just was made to fit together and it didn't actually flow together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My problems with Uncharted 3 are less about the plot. Like I thought the plot was interesting and captivating in its own way, but it's pretty much I didn't feel like it played as well as Uncharted 2. Like I thought the moment to moment shooting just didn't feel right. It didn't feel
Yeah.
as good.
No, I would agree
and-
with that.
and
I just like the
when-
set pieces.
I mean, like some of the set pieces were great, but just I thought almost all of the biggest shooting arenas where you're kind of like in a situation where it's like combat for 20 minutes or whatever. I thought they were all horrible. Like I thought they were all actively bad. Like the one that stands out to me in particular was the castle in the Middle East about halfway through the game.
Yeah.
I thought that was horrible. It wasn't fun at all for me to play. And the pirate section was not fun at all until the last area when you're on the cruise ship. I thought that was
Yeah.
good. But everything leading up to that was just, I thought it was actively bad as opposed to acceptable. And
I
it's just like-
enjoy the
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Alex. No, I enjoyed the part where you're like in the ship graveyard. In retrospect, like I've played that game like 3 times all the way through, maybe 4 now, and I like that part now because it's really different from the rest of the parts of it. But I remember playing it at the time, I was like, this like, and it gave me a lot of problems. So I was like, this sucks. This is terrible. I'm not having fun right now.
Mhm.
But I did like the cruise ship a lot. The cruise ship was cool.
Yeah, I was a fan of the cruise ship, and it's just like the fact that just turned out to be a big old red herring.
Yeah, that
That you spent 2 hours of gameplay on is just disappointing.
and that's like where my issues with the story come back. Because while that's like the set pieces were cool there, like that had nothing to do with the story.
Yeah,
That was basically a like 2 hour like
filler.
it was filler. It had nothing to do with anything.
And the way that they can make filler work in other games like Mass Effect, for example, is that you aren't alone and you are developing relationships with characters, and that's how that works in other games. But throughout that entire period,
Right.
it was just Drake, and he wasn't developing. It was just him getting angrier and angrier, and that was it.
Yeah.
So,
I never
It
thought.
would have been nice if Elena or Sully or anyone else had been there.
agreed.
I never found any of the antagonists in the Uncharted games to be very memorable. It just seems kind of the typical soldier in the Lazarevich or something in the second one.
Yeah.
It wasn't very memorable at all. I didn't feel.
There wasn't an antagonist in the first one, which
There-
was just
The thing is, there was though, but like I think the first one was really bad. They kind of went for the Indiana Jones like champagne villain,
Yeah.
where it's like the guy who's just there behind the scenes doing stuff and he's not actually doing anything.
Yeah.
But like I always have to think about who that guy was. Lazarevich was all right.
He's just your typical uh, antagonist with a big weird accent, and I don't know. It's nothing really special about him.
So he was kind of like the Nile of the Uncharted.
I was in
series.
Uncharted.
He's the antagonist with a weird accent.
Yeah.
There
No,
you go.
I love when a film or a game has a really good antagonist. It just makes it so much better, like so much more memorable, and everything so much more memorable. Whether it be why I love Final Fantasy. I think the films are fantastic, probably the best there is in any game I've played.
That's why the Mass Effect 1 story sticks out a little bit more than Mass Effect 2, just in general. For me,
Yeah.
at least, because Saren and Sovereign are really good antagonists.
Yeah. Me and my friend have had a lot of discussions about that. How like Mass Effect 2 was basically one big like recruit mission.
Yeah. I mean, Mass Effect 2, I think, is a better game and it has better moments, but just there's no... The overall plot of that game doesn't stick out as much.
Yeah. I enjoy the plot in 1 much more than 2, although 3 is still my favorite entry in that series.
Okay. As for me, if you don't know already, my name is Alex O'Neill. I'm a 20-year-old kid currently in school. I've been writing for almost 4 years now. I started the podcast. It was in kind of like preliminary phase and the website and everything when I was 16. When I was listening to old school podcasts Beyond. I think it was one of the episodes in the 80s or whatever. It was right when I started listening to video game podcasts. And ironically enough, Greg Miller, the man with the plan, as I refer to him as, he was talking about how when he decided that he wanted to do this and write about games and work at IGN and stuff, and that was years and years ago, and he kind of like, he gave me the push that I needed to start setting this up, and I found a couple of people, Scott and Evan, who also host the podcast with me, and we started the site and we started the podcast, and we've been going for about 3.5 years now with that, and I've been writing ever since. If you guys think that some of your early writings are bad, you should see a couple of my first reviews. They're just...
I might just do that.
I think my Little Big Planet review is 2,655 words, which is like the most ridiculous. That's like longer than half of the essays I've ever written.
Talking about everything.
Yeah, I did. And like I've gone back and I read that review. I'm like, oh God, Jesus. But yeah, I've been doing it this long enough that I know, I know what people like to read. And I know what video game websites want their writers to be able to write. And it's been an interesting thing moving forward and growing and learning with it. And when I thought I was maybe ready to have writers underneath of me, I got people that were interested in. And it all kind of fell in place. And it's been really awesome ever since, just kind of working and collaborating and talking constantly, like 3 or 4 times a day, every day, all week, and it's been a really cool experience. As for the kind of gamer I am, I've always been a console gamer. I like PC games. I like playing on a PC, but it's just, Niall, I'm sure you can attest to it. It's not like the easiest platform to just pick up and start playing on.
Not at all. Money box.
Yeah, the money box. But yeah, I'm sticking with the next gen consoles, and I'll stick with it moving forward. At some point, I will have a gaming PC just because it'll be inevitable, and I'll want to use it not just for gaming but for streaming and keeping that kind of content moving forward. But I am a big fan of RPGs. I would say like that's probably my favorite genre. JRPGs is my favorite kind of game. But I love almost everything. If it's not a sports game or a driving sim, I will play it. or an MMO. That too.
Oh
But
man, MMOs rock.
I know.
Life
Thanks,
Um,
Alex,
suckers.
on the MMOs.
I just can't do it.
Goodbye,
Um,
Alex.
Two of my favorite games of all time are JRPGs. One of which is Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix Plus, and the other, which is my favorite game of all time, is Persona 4 Golden.
That
Uh,
old demon.
yeah, that
I'm
old
really excited
demon.
that I'm finally gonna be able to play Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix.
Yes, I won't have to play this bootleg ass English version that I have. Um,
Just when I traded my PS3. Fuck.
yeah. No, I'm glad that Square Enix didn't just fucking sit around twiddling their thumbs before they announced 2.5 HD remix. They just went out and did it less than a month after
I'm,
1.5
I'm
came out.
surprised the amount of stuff we've been seeing from 3.
I think they're just reassuring us, like, hey guys, this is actually in
Yeah.
development. Don't worry, guys.
I mean,
Um,
and it is rough stuff, but it's nice to see stuff.
and
Yeah.
I think they know that, and that's why they're showing
Yeah.
it.
It
Makes
kind
it
of
team
reminds
though.
me a little bit of when I remember when 1 came out,
Hmm.
and I was so into 1, and like I remember waiting for them to finally announce stuff about 2, and like I would be on like the GameFAQs message boards like talking about it like constantly with people, going over like every detail, and like when stuff would come out, everyone would dissect it, and a lot of that stuff ended up not being in the final game.
Yeah.
I was
A
so
lot of the
excited for
early
that.
Kingdom Hearts 2 stuff didn't end up being in the
Yeah.
final game, too.
Like I remember that big battle you have, like the Thousand Heartless one.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. The
Was
trailer that they had for that was very different than what it ended up being.
yeah. I think they were like the behemoths or like the giant ones were in there too.
The large bodies and the
Yeah.
behemoths and stuff that were there, and they didn't end up being in that fight at all. It was just two of the same kind of Heartless.
Yeah.
Still awesome, but they're
It
different.
was.
But yeah, this early footage it gives a good idea of what they're playing around with. I think that's good for the hardcore fans to know.
That whole Disneyland kind of level. Is it a Disneyland level? I was like looking at it, I was like, there's a train.
The theory floating around out there right now is that the kind of those attraction type rides are the equivalent of summons.
Ah.
I think they
Yeah.
could easily equate to drive commands or limit breaks as well.
Right. I was thinking limits at first before I heard
yeah.
summons.
That's what I said too. The summons would make sense, and it's something that you could do. Just create those things. Like some of them might be kind of tailored to set pieces, or some of them might work better during specific boss fights, like the
Yeah.
one that they show in the trailer. But who knows?
The IGN video they did, like I think yesterday, brought up a good point about like the Rock Titan fight. Like that seemed impossible without using that train.
Yeah. Unless it
And-
flew like in Kingdom Hearts 1 with the Ursula fight.
Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
be-
And I was thinking like there could be more of that, tailored in throughout the whole game. Like they could give you certain things that you can only use in certain levels, like your companion characters were before. They could turn that into special abilities.
Right.
So like if I imagine that Rock Titan fight is part of the fight of fighting the Titans off of Mount Olympus from the Hercules movie. And they're all gigantic and they're all big enemies. If you use the train throughout that entire scene, then that would make sense.
I don't know why I thought that was like a Disney World attraction. I was like, oh, right, that's.
It looks like it.
The-
I mean, the train
Yeah.
looks like Big Thunder Mountain, and
Yeah.
The whole thing
pulling from
definitely
that.
has this, and this is like an old school Disney thing, but like that Main Street Electrical Parade, which I mentioned to you, Alex. It definitely has like because they're all lit up and they look like that. They look like that parade.
Yeah.
So it seems like they're kind of just digging into like the whole Disney like park theme just in general.
Yeah, that's what I took away with it from it. I thought that's exactly what they were going to do. The whole Disney world, like that's the world in the game. But now that you said, it does kind of silly to base that on the level.
I don't know.
Mount Olympus.
They've done things where I was like, really? I can't believe like the the Steamboat Willie level I didn't think would work, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a really cool thing. I don't know, like they have so much more to do now. Like there's so much more. Just like this is 2 generations after the last major entry in the series, so they have significantly more powerful hardware. Like
Yeah.
there's no comparison anymore. They could run like 60 PS2s in the PS4 without breaking a sweat.
Yeah.
So they have that plus so many more properties and so many more stories left.
Yeah, I'll
From
be
the,
interested to see if they finally delve into Pixar or if we start seeing Marvel or even Star
Star Wars.
Wars.
well, like
Um,
a theory that I had was they've said that Kingdom Hearts is going to continue just as a franchise after the end of this trilogy. And the only thing that they've guaranteed would continue with it is Sora as the protagonist. And I was thinking that if they continued it into, say, a new trilogy, they could pull on for that next trilogy Marvel or Star Wars and have it still be Disney related but in a new type of world. And that would allow them to break away from what it once was and build something new with new properties. So I think they'll probably stick to maybe Pixar and the what we assume to be Disney with the end of this trilogy, and then going forward, anything is possible.
yeah, that would be cool. I could see Marvel maybe letting something get in there because they've gotten so big now, and they've been a part of Disney longer. I would be really really surprised if anything Star Wars related ended up in there.
Yeah, me too. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Even in the like after like this game comes out, like I don't think we'll see Star Wars in there for a long time because they're really big on like protecting this like 789 thing, and like laser focus on how they want to present it to everyone, which is why like there was a cartoon like sitcom thing created by Seth Green that was going to be coming out, and like they have episodes made of this, like that was like with Leia and like Han and stuff like that, and it's just sitting on the shelf now because they don't want to like have a funny Star Wars series when they're getting ready to do 789.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was wanting a Jar Jar Binks in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Don't we all?
Best
mean,
summon
like-
ever.
I think the main important thing that's always been the most important thing in the Kingdom Hearts franchise is the characters that they've made for Kingdom Hearts and their lore. And if something fits into that, then it'll fit in. If it doesn't, then it's not going to get added. I'm excited
I
to
feel like-
see like Final Fantasy 12, 13 characters put in there too.
Yeah. No.
Um,
12 and 13
Um,
don't exist.
I'm
I
shocked
want-
Vincent hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah, I mean, only 3 Final Fantasy 7 characters have shown up, and 3
Um,
Final Fantasy 8 and 3 Final Fantasy 10 characters. So.
And I know they wanted Vincent to be in it. That's why Cloud like has parts of Vincent's costume in his Kingdom Hearts 1 appearance.
Hmm.
Oh yeah. I never noticed. Like I noticed that, but I never put two and two together.
Oh, I didn't notice that until like I read an interview that was like, yeah, that's why.
I
was like,
didn't
wow.
notice that until just.
I just
now.
thought he looked cool.
I know. I was like, why is he wearing a cape? I was like, it doesn't wear a cape.
I
Because it
just
looks
noticed that
cool.
he had Vincent's like claw hand too.
Actually, I don't even think I had played Final Fantasy 7 when I first played Kingdom Hearts.
I had played X, Final Fantasy X, before. I played Kingdom Hearts 1, but I never played 7. But I always knew Titus and Waka from it, but that was it. That's actually what got me into Final Fantasy. It was my entry drug.
Yeah, that's a good place to start, I think.
Yeah.
I'd be excited too if they in Kingdom Hearts 3 they added Final Fantasy 15 characters. I'm sure they will.
Man, I'm
Yeah.
so excited for that game. Honestly, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah, like I'm sure Noctis will be in there in some respect, just as maybe a side character. But I'd love to see some Final Fantasy oriented world.
Midgar.
That'd be fucking dope as shit. Or
Dude.
like I could see them do like a 13 related world with 13-2 coming out soon, and the success of that trilogy. So or 13-3. Excuse me. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts is really cool.
Kingdom Hearts is awesome.
To wrap that up,
Despite its story problems.
Yeah, I know you have problems with the story. I just fucking lap that shit up, man. I love it.
Like, it's weird too because I've been replaying the first one and like I still loved like those characters in the world and stuff. Like, despite the terrible plot twist,
I mean,
I still love like, and I want to know what happens. I want to know what happens in 3.
What plot twist? Actually, don't spoil it. What game is the plot twist in? In 1?
No.
It's kind of spruced throughout Chain of Memory or Dream Drop Distance and Birth by Sleep.
Yeah, I haven't played them two yet.
The big twists are.
Those are my biggest that's where my biggest issues came from.
Yeah.
Although
I mean, like, I can understand your complaints with Dream Drop Distance. Like, when I read your piece, like the only piece that I really agreed with you on was some of the Dream Drop Distance stuff goes a little far, maybe. But like I like Birth by Sleep. I like what they do with that, and I like what they build with that.
Like Birth by Sleep was probably my favorite one to play. Mm-hmm. Like I loved that command meld system.
Yeah, that was really clever.
And that was one of my problems with 3D because I just wanted that again, and you had to level up your Pokemon Dream Monsters or whatever.
Yeah.
But Birth by Sleep definitely, and I liked Birth by Sleep a lot too. When I was playing it at first, when I was playing as Terra, I was like, "This is awesome," and then I beat his story, and I was like, "Oh my god, what just happened?"
For reference to those listening, if you want to hear Brendan's explicit thoughts in a very spoiler-friendly way, you should read his piece on where Kingdom Hearts went wrong on the site. I mean, yeah, like it gets very convoluted. It gets very complicated in spite of itself, and I'm okay with that. I like that kind of plot. You know, that's kind of the kind of plot that you read in long-running book series or TV shows or something, and it's something that I enjoy. So,
yeah, I think part of my problem was like I thought it was going to be something different.
Mm-hmm.
So like I had expectations, like because I was like, oh, I can see the way this is going, like all this stuff, and I had like looking back, pretty ridiculous expectations, like for knowing what kind of series Kingdom Hearts is. Mm-hmm. I don't know if this is spoilers or not, but if you want anything, I'm going to say spoilers. But I was sure that Ven was going to be like Sora's brother or something.
Okay.
Like I was convinced, and I was so like I was completely wrong.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't be more wrong, but I was sure that was going to happen. Like as soon as I saw the cover, I was like, I bet that's like I'm clever. I know that's what they're going to do, and I was so off base.
You script writer.
You missed. You missed it a little bit. No, I'm the same way though. When I'm playing something, I always see the twist coming, always, and it's to the point where it's more of a curse than it is like a nice thing to have.
It is like this is actually in the piece I'm getting ready to write, but like when I didn't know about story structure and all this stuff, like I just liked things because they were cool. I was like, that's awesome. Like I liked the Star Wars prequels. I had no problems with them.
Yeah, and then you realize how a story's supposed to work and how fucking.
And I was like, no, I still like the prequels despite how flawed they are. But yeah, it's not as much fun to watch stuff because you're like, oh, that wasn't executed well, or that doesn't make sense.
But like the best part about it is like when a twist gets you, it's so good. It's always so good, and you're like
BioShock.
Yeah, BioShock. Perfect example.
Had to pick my jaw off of the floor.
When BioShock Infinite gets you, I was like, at the end of the game, I was like
Bruce Willis is a ghost.
It was a Bruce Willis is a fucking ghost moment.
It was. That was incredible.
That was amazing.
That game is easily my game of the year now.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's... The other side of that is that's one of the reasons why I really liked The Last of Us, because it didn't lean on any twist. There was no twist there.
Yeah, it was more like
I'm not going to spoil it, but the unfortunate thing that just happens at the end is something that you kind of knew was coming. So it wasn't a twist. It wasn't trying to surprise you with it. And it is literally just beat to beat, and you don't have to put a crutch on any one story beat. They're all just so good, and they all work together.
I will say it surprised me.
Hmm. Okay.
Not in the sense, I guess, that it like I didn't like I couldn't see it coming, but like I wasn't expecting it.
Man,
Yeah.
I was definitely like Last of Us. I'll admit, Last of Us, like, they hooked me
Hmm.
completely. I was like totally invested in that. Like, that was one of the few times when I was like, I see no flaws with this. Like, I'm just enjoying the story at this point. I'm not even thinking about like if it's good or not. I'm just enjoying it.
there's so much little things about that game, especially at the end. When he's run spoilers for The Last of Us. Fucking
I
hell.
just said we wouldn't spoil it, and then now.
Oh well,
It's happening.
I'm gonna have to spoil this, aren't I? But I'll say it, try and not spoil it. But the end of it, there is a resemblance to the very start of the game with his daughter
Yes.
running.
Yes.
The kind of motif that they kind of carry through that.
Man, that was amazing. I was like, when he's just saying the exact same thing, and he's just the way he's acting, I was just like,
I was almost in tears at that point.
Yeah.
I was.
It was really just the way it was done, and execution is everything in those kind of like story driven experiences, and the way it was done was perfect.
I cried at the start of that game. I'm not. I cried at the Last of
Yeah,
Us.
no, it's heart wrenching. It's again, execution is everything, and they executed very well.
Same with Walking Dead. Fuck that game. Oh,
That one got me. And
I
I was
cried
fighting
like a
them
fucking baby.
hard.
I'm sitting there holding the controller, like gritting my teeth, and there are just tears pouring down my entire body at this point. As
Well,
I'm
that game
going
was
through
awesome.
emotions.
That was pretty much my exact same reaction.
Yeah. The Walking Dead is like, and again, as soon as you beat episode 4, you know that's what's gonna happen.
it doesn't need a twist. It just relies on emotion.
Yeah,
well
but
done.
it's just like the actual experiencing of it is so.
Yeah.
It's so horrible.
I actually had that game spoiled for me before I played a single episode.
That's fucking horrible.
Oh,
Um,
man.
I played it on the Vita, so like I knew what the ending was, and it's still
It's still like the impact of it is still there.
yeah.
I played on an iPhone.
Oh man.
Yeah, I know. That was
Just
still
imagine
great.
sitting in your room on your iPhone, just tears just dripping down your face.
It was still great. Yeah, I know. It's just
My brother played it on an iPad. I think that could be a good place to play it.
yeah.
I played it
Yeah,
on the Vita.
I was playing the Wolf Among Us on the PC, which looks fantastic. So
Yeah, Wolf Among Us I played on PC as well. It's beautiful.
have a read of Alex's review on the site at the moment.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, Alex? Plugging away.
Plug. This is about writing. Yeah, I think that wraps it up. I think if you don't know a little bit about us by now, just a general thing to close it out. The website, Irrational Passions it's a video game website. It's always been about games. And the main podcast has always been about games, and we'll continue with that. And it's when the decision came to like have more writers, it was always everything I wrote was opinion based. It was I tried to provoke some kind of some thought provoking content with asking the right questions, and when I told you guys like, hey, this is like an opinion driven site, I'm not going to make one of you a news editor and post news every day, because you can get that from any other website, literally any other website. And
That's why we're special.
Exactly, that's why we're the special one. And like, yes, I think you get more views if you're the kind of website that posts news and builds a repertoire of. You can also be a website you can go to for news and thought-provoking content, but it saturates that content. You don't get like a full front page of really quality content from every review, which is really well done and personal and handcrafted. And if there isn't enough of that in there, I will help people get that there. So it is up to our standard, and I don't think any post that has gone up since we've gotten new writers is not up to a very high standard. And that's in part because all of the writers are really awesome. So like Irrational Passions is a site about thought-provoking, opinion-based content. So just know that going in, and I think you'll find a lot of really interesting stuff there. So
Yep, it's
other
been
than
great.
that, yeah, it really has been great.
Short but sweet.
Yes, it's a very short but sweet podcast, I think. Next week, I don't know what you guys will talk about, but hopefully you'll have more people here. So
We'll sort something.
yeah, you'll figure something out. And I don't know when this is going to go out, but that's all up on that's up to you, Niall.
You have to get this on the iTunes.
I'll get the video up by tomorrow at the very latest. So.
Yeah, I'll work on the editing ASAP.
And then we'll get something set up so we can get an RSS feed and stuff going. But yeah, thank you, Brennan. Thank you, Niall. It's been fun.
Thank
It
you.
was fun.
Hopefully there will be more of this every week. But until then, talk to you guys soon.